going to go and pick line, and then we go to the architectural plan. Here's the roof plan, and then go to architectural plan. I'm going to select the grid, the end of this grid line. I'm going to hit F8 to put it in ortho mode. I'm going to draw a line across here. So what I want to do is I want to take the grid from the second floor, because the grid's the same. I want to bring it down so it's right over here. It lines up with the architectural plan. So first of all, I have to be aware of my snaps. Oh yeah, this room is terrible for seeing everything. Okay. So again, if anybody doesn't realize the importance of snaps, they certainly realize it today. Okay, so here's the object snaps right there. I'm going to click on it. And we have to make sure, we need a bunch of snaps for sure. When I'm going to bring this down, I need the perpendicular snap on, which I always recommend you turn on. And you'll see why. And we'll need the midpoint snap as well. We're going to need the center snap for what we're doing. We're even going to need the node snap. Okay, and we're going to need the quadrant snap. So we'll get all these on to start with, and then as you do them, you won't have to keep going back to here. Okay, so we're going to need the midpoint, the center, the node, the quadrant, the intersection. Don't want to need the extension. We need the perpendicular. Okay, so let's get those on right off, and we'll save us some time. Let me stop it with the tool. Okay, so now I'm going to grab these grid lines. I'm going to go copy. I'm going to go to the copy command. Okay, with me, and I'm going to go through these 7 grid lines. I'm going to go through the 7 grid lines here. I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to pick this point over there for the top grid line. I'm just going to go straight down, snap to my perpendicular snap, and now I'll hit escape. So now I've just brought these grid lines down, so they line up with the architectural, and it's the same grid lines, nothing to it, okay? I just done nothing exceptional here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of these grid lines, and if you select any line, if you look in the layers, it tells you what layer that line is on. So this grid line is on a layer called S grid. S stands for structural. Now I brought down the grid lines. I don't want to mistakenly move them. So I'm going to open up the layers here. I'm going to scroll all the way down. You can see these start with A's. A's are for architectural. I'm going to go down to C's, which are for civil, so that's for topography and stuff. I'm going to go E is electrical, G is for our title block, L is for landscape, P parking, plumbing, I guess. S is for structural. Okay, so I'm going to go down to S grid. I'm going to hit the little padlock. And S grid is now frozen. So I can still select it, and I can still snap to it, but I can't move it. Okay, so let's freeze that, and now we'll add some dimensions. Now, I meant to do this first. I'm just going to add a viewport just to make a point here. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm just going to take MV, because I'm just going to make 2 viewports even though I'm going to go past the line. Now last semester, you made all these textiles. See, right here. You made all these textiles, right? The 001 was for using text when it's 1-to-1, and this drawing text was 2 millimeters high. And drawing text 2 was 2.5 millimeters high. Title block text, made a mistake there, was 3.5 millimeters high. If we wanted to draw on drawing a building at 1-to-10, we would have to make, instead, and we wanted to get 2 millimeter high text, we'd have to multiply it by 10, so it'd be 20. Same thing for 100, we'd have to multiply it by 100, okay? All that was baloney, because there's a much easier way. Okay, there's something called annotext. So here it says annotext. It says 2 millimeters high, So there's no difference. The only difference I did is I checked off this box that says anno. And I did the same thing for text high, it's 2.5 millimeters, and title text as well. When you check off this annotative box, it does some things. And what it does is you do not have to make all those text. No matter what scale the drawing is in, the text will always be the same size. Okay, so I'm just gonna demonstrate that. I'm gonna go into this view here. I'm gonna sort of zoom into my second floor plan, and I'm gonna hit the scale and set it to 1 to 100. Okay, and I'm gonna lock it. I'm gonna go into here, I'm gonna go look at the same area. Okay, same map. I'm gonna set the scale to 1 to 50. Okay, and I'm gonna lock it as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna go into paper space and move these two over a little bit. Snap. Okay. So go back over here. Okay, I wanna make sure you get the impact of this. Okay, so I can go into this viewport. So this is at 100, 1 to 100. This is at 1 to 50. Now I'm gonna go to dimension, okay? Again, the dimension is also annotative. The leaders are also annotative. Now, I'm not going into 100 dim. I'm just using the regular annotative dimension. And I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna pick this, put the dimension down. Okay, so you can see that dimension. Now, I'm gonna go into this viewport. I'm gonna pick dimension. I'm gonna pick the, again, anybody who doesn't realize this is showing it sort of like octagonal. If your circle looks crooked, just type RE to refresh your screen. Okay, I'll go into this port, type RE and refresh my screen. It comes around. So I'll go back in here. I'm gonna go to dimension. I'm gonna pick the quadrant here and the quadrant here. And it shows that the circle here is 1,000. But what you'll notice is that the text size, the arrowheads, everything's exactly the same. I did not use dim 100 dimension style and dim 50 over here. I just used dim anno, yet they came out to be the same size. Okay? And now I'm gonna go to text, because I'm gonna go to single line text. I'm gonna pick a point over here. Again, once you pick a point in single line text, the next question it asks you is what's the direction of the text. So I'm gonna draw a horizontal line, and now I'll just put some text. So I'll do the title, I'll do it in capitals. Okay, I'm gonna hit escape. Now I'm gonna go to this viewport. I'm gonna go text, single line, and I'm gonna put it some lines there, just do some text there. Good. So once again, even though this scale is twice as big as this, the text comes out the same way. Same thing with the leaders. I'll just go over here. I'll hit F3 and turn off my snap. And turn off my tracking as well. I'll do it over here. I'm gonna go and I'll turn off F8, and I'll just do a multi-leader, and I'm gonna go in here and do a multi-leader. Okay, so you never have to worry again about changing text styles, dimension styles. You just use the dim anno, the text dimensions leaders are always going to be the right size, as long as you have the scale set when you put them in. Because you might notice something interesting about this, is this dimension over the F is not showing up here. These dimensions are in both views, this is the same view, but they're not showing up in both. Okay, so there's two things. This annotative dimension, these annotative features, they always show up the same size, depending on the scale you put them in at, and they only show up visibly in the scale that they're set to be visible in. So this is a real bonus, you know, because say I wanted to do just that. I wanted to put some notes in this viewport about this detail. But again, I don't want them to show up over here. I don't have to put them on different layers and freeze one layer and unfreeze the other layer like we did last semester. I can just put them in, they won't show up at the wrong scale. Okay? Now, if I want them to show up, I can. Okay, so I'm gonna go into this viewport here. I'm gonna select this 1000, and I'm gonna right click and go to properties. And I can move this property over here. And okay, right over here it says dimension style is dim, and it says annotative, it says yes, okay? And then it says annotative scale is 1 to 50. So this dimension is set to be visible at 1 to 50. I can add additional scales to it. So I'm gonna click right here, just to show you this, and click over here, and I'm gonna say add. And I'm gonna add 1 to 100. Hit okay, hit okay, it's, okay, you saw it, pass. Now, this 1000 millimeter dimension is showing up in this view because that dimension is set to be visible at both scales. Okay, I don't want it to be visible at 1 to 100, so I'll select it and delete it. Okay, and now it disappears. Okay, so it's a brilliant feature. It came out in 2008, I think. It's annotative and it makes life so much easier. Now, I'm just going to reduce the screen again. Now, right over here, there's this little triangle here. Now, this is important for you to see. If I click this triangle, these dimensions that were not put in at the right scale, they show up, you know? They're out of scale and everything, but they show up. So if you want to just see them, because, you know, now I could go in here, I could click this and say I want it to be at 100, then I can go to properties and change it. So if you have an annotated feature that you want to see, even though it's not going to be visible, you can hit this little blue triangle. Okay? And this one here does something else that I don't want to get into. So I just want you to know that. Because some people will have this on, and they're going to see the dimensions all the time, all scales. So you never want to have that turned on. Okay, so that's just about the annotative. So again, from now on, you don't have to deal with anything, because I've given you the dimension style. If you go to a company, they're going to give you a template. It will have your dimension style, your lever style, everything else set up for you. Okay, so I'm going to delete this here and hit OK. Now I'm going to go back into here. Now on the second floor plan, I put these in. These are annotative dimensions, and this is